Hi and welcome everyone. It's Lavender Sky Panther with you on Wednesday, May 17th, 2023 for show number 193 called Sky Ops Miami, Ospreys over Lychees, and Industrial Surrealism. I invite you to also go see show number 192 regarding Ospreys seen over Lower Manhattan. I'm talking about military craft, not ospreys, the kind of eagle, hawk / whatever type, falcon type birds. We're talking military aircraft that is not considered an airplane nor a helicopter, but a tilt rotor, so that can be put into an airplane mode or into a helicopter mode. What's going to be interesting is the one seen in show number 192 over Lower Manhattan were in the helicopter mode. And the ones seen over Miami this evening, in fact, around 8 p.m., were in airplane mode. So my big question here is why? Why are we seeing Ospreys, military craft, specifically the Ospreys, in Lower Manhattan and now over Miami 10 days later? What is going on? You know, the person who wanted to remain anonymous showing me the photos and providing the photos for show number 182 over New York had never seen those in the area for over a couple of decades. There was no movie set, nothing was going on to that effect. Neither was this where I'm seeing them now over just a suburban neighborhood in Miami. So what the heck is going on? That's my big question. So I'm just going to jump into this short little show, and let's get into it. All right, so here we are. I'm actually getting my cursor here. Okay, so I know they're really tiny. We'll see them better coming up. But these were, in fact, two ospreys flying together from the north toward the south, presumably toward Homestead Air Force Base. These are lychees, and this is a lychee tree. That's why the title. Also, I was seeing lychees all through my errands today. There are a lot of people selling them on the roadside, so they're obviously in season. If you're not familiar with the lychee nut tree, have a look. I invite you to go take a look at that. They have a lot of great health properties. There's a lot of interesting things about them, especially when you peel it open and what you see inside. So that's just a little fun, fun task or a little, not assignment. I'm trying to find the right word. Just a fun little invitation to go look around and look on your own and find out more about that really remarkable lychee nut. All right, I am including Industrial Surrealism down here. It is Sean Gautreau's site, and I want to include this again just for anybody who might have missed show number 192. It's a highly recommended site to go check out. You'll see why in a second. Here you go. I just recycled and took a slide that I created for show number 192 to give a shout out again to Sean Gautreau. Thank you so much for doing this work. He started this back in 2005, this channel, simply documenting things going on with Hurricane Katrina and the evacuations and stuff. And he started to notice patterns and things in the sky. And this again was back in 2005. I've only was clearly told, divinely in a weird way, to look up in a very poignant way, to start looking up back in 2018 in July. So as I said before in the previous show in 182, I really wish I had found this site, Industrial Surrealism, when I first started. It would have helped quantum leap me leaps and bounds ahead of where I am now, because I too started noticing some things that Sean started noticing and documented, but he just documented them in such an excellent way. I mean, look at this. We've got nice, kind of 3D renderings. We've got this kind of 2D chart of all various craft seen. That look kind of like sky imprints and things. And the more you look at the clouds, the more you see these things. I absolutely agree with all of these shapes that he's showing, and I've seen all of them that he's showing. I mean, look at this beautiful detail. Like, we've got the camouflage effect of this cloaking effect of this cloaking material, and then we can see the shapes a little bit better. He just delineates and depicts everything so wonderfully and explains it wonderfully too. So again, big shout out to Industrial Surrealism. Really appreciate your work, and there's so much to dive into, to discover over there at his channel. So many different topics, and do see show number 192. I also touch a little bit more on it with a little more slides, but do go look at his list of videos, and just go by feel, go by intuition, and see which titles jump out at you, and see what you want to discover over there. It's really incredible. All right, so now we're moving on. So, and as a part of 192, I kind of borrowed my own slide back from there and edited a bit. So I'm saying Ospreys over Lower Manhattan and now over Miami 2. You know, get ready for the show and also see show number 192 of mine. And yes, we're seeing Ospreys over Miami on May 17th now, today at 8 p.m. So as I mentioned previously, there's so many different models of these, and the upper right-hand photo, I think, is an image taken from the movie Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I think that's the name of it. And I did remember seeing the Ospreys in that movie. They're actually featured prominently there. And then here is an illustration coming off the internet for educational purposes. I excerpted it. You see the link below of where it came from. And it's really interesting how, you know, it shows that, again, it's a tilt rotor, so it's not technically not an airplane nor a helicopter, but they just classify it as an aircraft, which can go into, up here is the airplane mode when it's, you know, straight level, you know, going vertically. And then it tilts, you know, it can tilt and go into helicopter mode and vice versa. So as I mentioned, here in the Manhattan version, we have, you know, the helicopter mode. And then when we get to the Miami version, you'll see it, you know, these are more in, they're in airplane mode. Okay, so we're going to go back. We'll come back to that in a minute. I do want to say, too, hopping back over here for a second to Industrial Surrealism, I also want to thank a very kind viewer for even bringing my attention to this channel in the first place. I'm not going to call you out by handle name because I don't know if you want to be mentioned. But if you do, as I mentioned before, just put it in the comment section below. But big thanks to you as well. Okay, we're going to keep jumping back. Okay, so I did read the description of this. There's a model called the V-22 Osprey. There are also a bunch of others. You know, here you can see here where my cursor is, there are a few variations of this thing. I invite you to look here, read on your own leisure, or go back to show number 192 where I read the whole thing out loud if you want to know some of the stats about what this thing can do. This show, however, is just intended to be really short. Just to get the question out there, just to get the awareness out there that now, you know, this was very atypically, very unusually seen over Lower Manhattan. And now, oh, and by the way, this is a huge cloaking craft. Again, I and this one here too, and I analyze it, break it down, and put enhancements on it so you can see what's going on in detail in show number 192. So why are these military Ospreys flying over Lower Manhattan on May 7th? Okay. And then, as I said, this is a lychee tree, so lychee nut tree, you can see what the leaves look like. And here they look really small, but they were flying overhead, north to south. And why are they flying over Miami today on May 17th, 10 days after being seen in New York City? And also, if you follow Dutch Sense's channel at all, I think it was on his channel. You know what? It might have been on his or somebody else's. Might have been somebody else's, but somebody else out there, I'm just not remembering the name, otherwise, of course, I'd fully credit it. Some other channel out there was documenting, and again, maybe it was Dutch Census, I just can't remember, that for whatever reason, all of the FAA cams along the eastern seaboard were shut down for a bit, and that was right after I received the photos coming in from, you know, Lower Manhattan. Maybe it was the next day. It was within like 24 hours, and I thought that was very curious to see military craft activity that we don't normally see. I mean, these models, and then have some cameras shut down for a period of time. I need to track that down and see how long they were off and which cities along the eastern seaboard. Anyway, note to self and note to all of you, something's going on. I don't like when I see Ospreys and not hear any word about it, of course, quote unquote officially, not that we ever told the truth there either, but at least something mentioning it. Nothing, you know, as far as I know. And I had searched on the internet that day when I got those images from Lower Manhattan. But anyway, now we're looking up and we're seeing these two craft flying over just suburban neighborhoods in Miami, over Miami, Florida. And again, these are in the plane mode. All right, just another zoom in. We're looking at the belly. You know, we're looking up at this craft. And, you know, you see the tilt rotor blades. Very interesting. And I know this is a little fuzzy, but, you know, just kind of looking as they've already passed overhead. And, okay, that's it for those. So those are my big questions. If anybody else out there, if you've been hearing about these things, or have seen them flying overhead wherever you are, do let me know in the comment section below. I want to get down to the bottom of this. Why are they here? What are they up to? Because it is, again, unusual to see this craft other than in movies. Also, I just want to say that even prior to, well, I'm recording this technically on the 18th, but this happened just not too long ago on the 17th. Also, I heard these passing overhead just after midnight on the 16th going into the 17th. I heard, noise. Again, it didn't sound like airplane nor helicopter, and I'm like, what the heck is that noise? But it was late and I didn't go outside and look, and so now this puzzle was answered for me today, seeing them overhead. And I also want to mention the synchronicity of this all. I almost wouldn't have even seen these flying overhead, but in a very unexpected, unusual way, a friend stopped by, asked me to come outside, and we were talking about something. They wanted help with something, and in something off of one of my really early YouTube shows. So I was going through the list and going to pull something up out of one of my shows, and I said, oh, hey, by the way, in show number 192, this was really weird. Somebody sent me these, unknown source sent me these photos out of Lower Manhattan. Look at these. And just as I was pointing to these Ospreys, that's when these two flew overhead, heading south over us, and that's why this whole thing got really extra strange, because, there's a lot more to this. That's why I'm really highlighting it now and asking if anybody knows anything about it, just to mention something in the comment section below, so maybe we can all piece this together, what's happening, right? All right, so that's that for now. Now, also around the same time, after seeing those Ospreys, then I looked to the east and just noticed this really stood out, really strange. Different color, same altitude of everything else, but totally different shape. Odd man out standing there, so I thought, all right, let's check it out, see what kind of cloak and craft we're dealing with here. And so here's just the first round of enhancement, and actually, I'll take this time now. I should have said it at the beginning, but not should have, but it would have been good. A big heartfelt thanks to all of you for being here, for stopping by. Welcome, whether you're new or returning to this channel. And I deal with original photos. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. When I step away, I'm just clearing my voice. I work with the original photos, and then I do what's called enhancements. I'm simply taking that original photo and simply upping or lowering attributes of the photo, such as contrast, brightness, color, saturation, and that's about it. I might play with sharpness and warmth, and really that's it. So it's the same photo, just dealing with different levels, so that we can see a little bit deeper into what's going on in any given scene. And often we're able to pull out very extraordinary things that we can't catch with the basic human eye at this point, because it's got the digital technology, has a vaster range of photo and light sensitivity. So here we start to see a little more detail in here, and here with extreme contrast, we see this is kind of made up of a couple solid parts, and whatever this thing is, it's not a natural cloud, it's cloak and craft. That's all I'll say about that. All right, this is a different day. I just captured a couple other things that kind of seem to me to relate to the show. Looking up in Coral Gables, this thing was extremely low in altitude, and I'm calling that cloak and craft. We start to see a symmetry. It looks like one big wing, a triangular shape with something kind of detaching off of it. So we zoom in a little bit more, and this thing started morphing and changing by the minute. I included it in a YouTube Shorts where it even looks like a partial round element, like a wheel with spokes in it. So I invite you to go take a look at that Shorts. And here we see, this kind of is very symmetrical. We have like a little arcing element, and these two like wings or flaps seem very symmetrical. And we have structure here in a way that this thing is pulling away, and it's also in a triangular shape. And there's something very straight here, very sharp edged, and that tells you that's no natural cloud either. So we zoom in, and I know it's a little bitmappy if you're looking on a bigger screen, but we have a pure line here. And just something about this, we got a clear, organized, symmetrical form. So we're dealing with some kind of cloak and craft. And if you compare notes with IndustrialSurrealism channel, you'll find out a little bit more about what all of this stuff can be. All right, here's just a little cluster of a progression here. Looking at the original in the upper left, it gets a little more enhanced to the right, more enhanced down here in the lower left, and even more enhanced to the lower right. And we start to see, we go from here where it's like such a big particulate washout, but I still could pick out clear elements that I knew stuff was hiding in here. And so when we get down to the lower corner, we start to see totally different color signatures, different, pure form. And we've got all this other little disturbance happening up here. So I know there's multiple cloaking craft doing something above another one. All right, and look at how extremely low in the atmosphere this is. That's another, another curiosity. Like, why is this stuff happening so low, all this cloaking craft? And it looks like other stuff is cloaking well beyond here. That's probably much more massive in scale. It's just so hard to see, though, because it's so heavily veiled. All right, we're going to zoom in just on this lower right-hand corner a minute. And there's something kind of long, elongated flying out of like a hole over here where my cursor is. We have straight pipes and like different pieces. Again, the overall scene is just really strange whenever it's all choppy. I usually call that staccato cloud, but there's no way this is even cloud. It's clearly artificial constructs with artificial, particulate material, maybe even plasma material. And we're zooming in, just on this lower portion. And again, you see this odd shape, clearly not a cloud, with a separate thing happening above it, separate commotion, if you will. And with a little more enhancement, we see how separate these two things are, whatever's going on in here. So, as I always like to say, have a look, see what you think about any of this. I'm just giving you my impressions. All right, well, this is the photo of the day and the close of the show. Thanks for connecting here a while. I'm just showing you a little slide. If you're interested in spiritual card readings, I've mixed those in on this channel. I've been doing that lately, but I do separate them out by nomenclature. So you'll see a letter of the alphabet in front of anything that is a spiritual card reading, whereas I'll have numbers for my longer sky shows and a different numbering system for the YouTube shorts. So I invite you to take a look around there. This is the scene from when I launched out today. They all are unique in character and in setting and a lot of other things. So hope you enjoy them. And if not, stick to sky shows, or if you're not enjoying the sky shows, hop over there and check it out. So in the meantime, or check out both. Like I always say, there's no A or B. Check it all out. So again, many thanks. I wish you all the best. Tremendous peace and love to you. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.